Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Candid Camper and it's the Candid Camper's Theme Park Thoughts. And once again, we got episode number 5, and we are featuring the Disney George Italiano, the Disney Italiano George, somewhere over this way. It's right there. What's up, George? Thanks for joining us on this top 5 today. And guess what we're doing, dude? Epcot. Top 5
Sounds
Epcot.
good.
I love it. So let them know where they can find you, George.
Absolutely. You can find me on Orange Grove 55 with my segment Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. You could also find me on my own YouTube channel, Citrico Central, sister channel to Orange Grove 55, where basically Orange Grove 55 covers all like the commentating, round table podcast kind of form, where with Citrico Central, I am basically in park vlogging, covering all special events, doing fun activities in the parks, whether it's Disney, Universal, and it's always a good time.
Love it. Go show George some love. I'm going to leave his stuff in the description below. Also, OG55. If you want to see some more of their stuff, go over there. They're the ones that got me into this space. They're the ones that making me feel loved and welcome. And I got to meet a lot of new people within the within this theme park space too because of them. So I appreciate you guys, and thanks for giving me the push to be back on here, like I mentioned in episode 4. But yeah, today Epcot top 5. So Epcot plays a big place in my heart, even though I only been to Disneyland or Disney World twice. Epcot is the one where I sit back and I look at it and I'm like, this is done right. This is also kind of done wrong in certain areas, but this is mostly done right. And this would kill in Disney and in California in general. Like this would destroy every theme park. I think it would do better than Disneyland in some sense. Disney World
Which is why OG wants to have Westcott for the third.
Yeah. Yep. And the thing is, which really just, I get Disney's starting to, let me put it this way. Disney's starting to catch on that people in California like their food and they like their vendors and they like their just weird ass fucking shit to eat. And now they're starting to kind of do that and add these spots. But we're just now getting Coco. Like, come on, dude. Like, Disney, get out.
That should have opened the year after the movie came out in theaters.
Easily, like common sense. And the fact that we're getting it now and then we still now gotta wait, and it just makes zero sense. What I'm getting at is Epcot is one of those things that would work so well in California, especially being able to go around all the different worlds and having another park that you can actually have a few drinks at and have really good food, sit down restaurants, which is highly needed out in California. It just makes a lot of sense. And the cool thing about Epcot is that it doesn't have to be connected to Disneyland. If Disney bought the Anaheim Stadium for the what were they, whatever that team that they don't win,
the Angels.
That one. Yeah. If they bought the Angels, they would have had that whole field in that whole area. That could have been your Westcott right there, and it wouldn't have been perfect. It's still close enough to do some transportation. Makes sense. Anyways, I remember going to Epcot for the first time and walking in and seeing that big ass like golf ball, and I was like, wow. What's weird is that I felt the same way walking in there that I did go walking into Disneyland when I see the castle. And that was out of all 4 parks, that was the only one that actually got me right in the beginning. And I'm talking about like right when you walk in, you're like, whoa.
Yes.
Even Magic Kingdom didn't really do that. Even though the castle's like 10 times bigger, it still didn't have that feeling where this did. And then I thought back to that one episode of Boy Meets World, and then like, oh, that's what that fucking thing is. Number one, I didn't do too much research on Epcot because I really didn't even know there's rides there. I thought it was just walking around and eating food. Like, that's all I thought it was. I didn't know there's a whole other section and different.
Essentially, that's how it started out. Like it started out of just like discovery, learn things, world culture, try different foods from different countries. Like it was basically like a permanent World's Fair, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it was hard for Disney to convey to people what Epcot really was. And they knew it was missing some sort of ingredient. It was missing that Disney touch, and they knew that they needed to involve a lot more of the Disney characters, a lot more of attractions, and that's how it kind of got intermixed as time went on.
Yeah, and you can see that now, and I've gone recently, so I got to see some of the new stuff they added. But going back to the big golf ball globe thing, it was 10 times bigger than I fucking thought, and I didn't know it was a fucking ride in there. I did not know it was a ride. I'm like, what the fuck is a ride in here? How? And then you get out the ride, you're like, how the fuck they fit a ride in that thing? It's so cool. It's so fucking cool. But Epcot was more than that. It just kept going and going and going. And then not only that, you can go left, you can go right, you go all the way in the back, and there's just shit everywhere. And I felt kind of overwhelmed just because they were doing a lot of construction at the time. But once I went again without construction, it wasn't as bad. But it just there's so much to do, and you are learning something. That's why I like you brought that up. You learn something almost every single ride you go on. You learn something. There's always a sign saying what something is. It was just a day full of learning for me, and learning about a culture, learning about just the past, the future. Like, it was just so good and well done. And I weirdly think that Epcot is kind of like underrated, and also, but people that know, they know. You know what I mean? It's one of those, you know,
You
and
know,
it becomes one of those fan favorites really fast. There's still stuff that I haven't done there. That, like, I haven't done Mission Space? It was closed
mhm.
every time I gone on it or went to the park. I did do Test Track, which was awesome. But just I don't want to go too far in it. But in general, Epcot is worth it. It's more than what you think. Do a little bit of research so that way you can maximize your time there, especially if you're on a short trip. And I would, if I was to go for 5 days, it would be 2 days there for sure out of the 5 days. Yeah, cool. All right, George, you ready to kick us off? We're gonna do our number 5.
Let's do it. Okay, so my number 5 is The Seas with Nemo and Friends. Now,
Okay.
the reason why I picked this is because a lot of times when you think of an attraction, you just think of the ride. But what's so unique with Epcot's attractions is there's a lot more involved than just the ride. So when I say that The Seas with Nemo and Friends, it's basically the entire pavilion. I love how you can board a clam mobile, and it takes you
Mhm.
through this kind of like storyline after the events of Finding Nemo, where Marlin and Dory are trying to find Nemo again, and it showcases all the characters from the films. And then what they do is they incorporate the characters in an actual aquatic water tank with real life sea creatures and fish, which is interesting of how they do it. But I mean, I love how they can incorporate both just the technological point and then the real world of aquatic sea life, which was really cool. And then once you disboard the ride, you have the massive aquarium that you can go in and actually look at the real sea animals, the sea turtles, and the manatees or whatever else that they have in there. And I do love how they also have a couple programs with that too. You can go diving
Yeah.
in the tank. So as guests are like looking at the fish and everything, you can see real life people that are diving in to the tank. And they do another program called Dolphins in Depth, where you can kind of get in the pool and kind of interact with the dolphins and have them do tricks for you and everything. So I just love, again, going back to like the learning aspect. It's more than just going on a ride, but they kind of combine that all into one pavilion. And I just love the creativity behind it. So that's why the Seas with Nemo and Friends, number 5 for me.
You know what sucks about that whole pavilion is that I feel like it's tucked in a weird spot, and people there even there's not it's not the smallest sign in the world, but it's also not as inviting. Like, it just kind of looks like a building with a Nemo sign, and I feel like it needs to have some just bigger grand, just to invite people in, because it is so fucking cool in there. And that is one of the big. Isn't that like one of the biggest tanks in like Florida or something? Like, it
It's
has
one
like
of the
some kind of,
biggest tanks.
yeah,
Yes.
it's massive. And not only that too, like the whole diving thing, I got to watch the people go into the tube and it fills up with water and you see them go up and go in. Like, it was so cool. And outside aesthetically, like I said, it doesn't have all the coolest things in the world. Like, it's just kind of like a weird brick building, but it has that one little section with the birds in it, and then it has the
Yeah.
water come up. It's such a nice place, especially to bring the kids too. The kids enjoy the aquarium there. And not only that, you're getting a real aquarium. Like, it's real fucking fish in there. And you don't get that in a
Absolutely.
lot of parks. Like, a lot of parks, they don't have fish.
Absolutely. And I have to just add in a little plug real quick. Adjacent to the Living Seas is the Coral Reef Restaurant. Now,
Ah,
I'm not a huge fan of the Coral Reef Restaurant. I feel like it's a hit or miss. I know that that's a completely different conversation that we'll
yeah,
probably have at a later time. But what I loved about the Coral Reef is a memory that I just had this past trip at Walt Disney World. I actually got to attend a D23 event, and I actually got to meet Jodie Benson, the voice of Ariel. And she told like us her story of how she got into the business and how she ended up at Disney and everything. And so yeah, so we actually have a signed um, Little Mermaid soundtrack by her,
that's cool.
and it's really cool. So I kind of affiliate that, even though it was in the Coral Reef restaurant, but it was right next door to the Seas with Nemo and Friends. So that's something that
How
I'll always
how
remember.
big is it? 'Cause I haven't actually been in there. How big is the wall, like the tank, like in there? Is it the whole wall, or is it like little portholes by the
Inside like the Coral
like?
Reef,
Yeah, like where you're when you're eating. Is it like a
when you're
full
eating,
tank or?
it's no, it's actually like it's a sizable like wall, depending on like
Oh,
if
okay,
you're sitting up against the wall. So there's certain
okay.
seatings that you'll be right next to the aquarium. Otherwise,
That's
you're
really
just
cool.
like in the restaurant itself.
So is it kind of like one of those things where you're going, kind of like Be Our Guest, where you go for the theming over the food?
Yeah, and it's like if you don't get that sweet spot, it's like okay, then why are we
Yeah,
here?
while you're here, yeah, yeah. You want the Rose Room. I love the Rose Room for a minute. Then you're like, oh fuck, I'm just in a regular piece of part of the castle. All right. So my number five, oh man, and I probably would put this higher, but there's some really good ones out there. This is probably one of those where people are like, what the fuck? Why? But I absolutely love this ride, and I ride it probably 30 times because there's never a wait. Grand Fiesta Tour.
What the fuck? Why?
I
Okay.
yeah, right. Number one, it is in the middle of Mexico Pavilion inside the pyramid, and inside that pyramid's fucking cool. Like such a cool idea.
Mhm,
Except there's too many. I think there's too many weird little Mexican street vendors things in there. It kind of makes it really like tight quarters. But I get
mhm.
it's kind of trying to be like Mexico. I haven't eaten at the restaurant, but it gives you that Pirates of the Caribbean vibe. Still, like you get to eat around the water. This queue line is the smallest, most miniature queue line. This is a Fantasyland, Disneyland Fantasyland style queue line, and the middle of this big ass pavilion that somehow people don't even know the fucking rides are. I didn't know the ride was there until I actually had to look at a map, and I don't think there's even a sign saying what it is. I think it's just plastered on the wall or painted on the wall.
Mhm.
And then you get on, and they're just going through this whole like Donald Duck and the Three Caballeros, and they're just playing their fucking music the whole time. You get to see the Mexican culture, and they're all dancing. And it's just so much fun. Like everybody's having fun, even though Donald's like lost and they're trying to find him and do all this shit. It's just a lot of fun. Then you get to see the animatronics when they're working. They're pretty good. Um, and the soundtrack like is really really good. I think it's just super underrated. I feel like people don't know it's in there, and I think if more people did know it was there, it would be better. But hot take on this: where the fuck is Coco? Why hasn't that was the easiest in you could have possibly got, George? Not you, but I'm calling George out on this. The easiest in, like, call your fucking homies up right now. Be like, what the fuck you doing? All they had to do is reroute that line, which that would think that was like the hardest part in my mind was how would you requeue that? But I think there has to be some kind of door or something. Requeue that line to the little backside alley and put Coco in there and leave the boat ride how it is. Change up some of the scenes. Give us a cheap version of it for at least for now. Like I think people would have been fine with that. When was the last time you watched the Three Caballeros on Disney Plus?
Believe it or not, I watch that movie very often.
Oh,
A
okay.
lot of
Well,
people like, but
ask the wrong person.
I'm like one in like 1,000 that like watches the Three Caballeros. Like it was like one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. Which we'll continue this conversation because the Grand Fiesta Tour is my number 4.
There you go.
Um,
Love
so
it.
uh,
What the
so
fuck you mean?
yes, so I do agree with you in an extent. I would love for them to put Coco in there, but I feel like I wouldn't want the Three Caballeros to go away.
Yes,
And I
yeah, it's fucked up, right?
and I feel like the length of time of the ride fits well with the Three Caballeros. I feel like if you put Coco in there, it's diluting it. I feel like if they were to put something of Coco, just extend the Mexican pavilion. There's a lot more room back there, sort of like how they did with
Ratatouille.
the France pavilion.
Yeah.
Like just extend the Mexico Pavilion, add like a nice little Mexican village, add in Coco, maybe not even the boat ride because you have the boat ride for the Grand Fiesta Tour. So maybe like do another kind of rendition of Coco. But I feel like in the space where the queue is for the boat, they would have to do a lot of rerouting because I think once they would change it to Coco, people were going to be in that thing. So I don't even know like how that would work. And I do agree with you. It gives off like the Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland with the blue bayou. I absolutely love how it looks like an outdoor street market at night. And it's just, I absolutely enjoy it. And again,
It feels festive.
I love, and this is why I'm glad we did Epcot next, because for me, it's not just about the ride, but it's like what is involved with the ride.
Yeah.
Is like you don't really get that with the other parks. So yeah, so everything that you said, and that's why the Grand Fiesta Tour is on my list. I hope it doesn't go away. I love the audio animatronics of Donald, Jose, and Panchito at the end. I love the storyline of like how it is in the movie where Donald is kind of like on his own little rampage through Mexico, and Jose and Panchito are trying to catch up with him and everything. So, and of course the music, you have that authentic Mexican music with the mariachis and the dancers, and then you have like the Three Caballeros song, the do 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 do. It's just like it's just a fun ride. Like it's very simple, it's very quaint, but it fits Epcot.
Yeah. Yep. And you're right. The last two rides that you said there is more to the ride outside of the ride than there is just the ride, like other parks. And don't get me wrong, theming at other parks, especially like Magic Kingdom, like we just talked about in our last episode, the theming matches where the location of these rides are at, but they're not as interactive of a world as some of these other ones are. Where Mexico Pavilion, you walk up, and walking into the Mexico Pavilion itself is an attraction, and then you get on this ride, and then it shuffles you back through it. And same thing with Nemo. You go on a Nemo, then you walk out, and it's still an attraction once you get off. So there's a lot to it. Epcot does it right, and this is why I think Epcot is underrated. And that brings me into something that I thought wasn't going to fit well, but it ended up fitting well enough for me to understand it. And do I think Disney went cheap on it a tad bit? But does it work for them and it keeps them from having to do more? It does. And that's going to be Frozen Ever After. So I didn't get to go on Maelstrom. I wish I did because I love that shit, but I didn't get to go on it. Walking into the village and then seeing Frozen in the back, I thought it was going to be one of those where you're like, this is out of place. It doesn't fit, which technically kind of is out of place. But you get inside, they fixed everything up. The whole queue line works really well. It's nice. It's dark. They have the whole like wooden houses inside, like all fixed up. But watching videos of Maelstrom and then watching the ride going on the ride itself for Frozen, it still somehow worked and still felt like I was watching the Maelstrom, if that makes sense. That whole scene where you end up going backwards when she pushes you, like that is fucking brilliant. It was so good. So I really enjoyed the ride. I'm not a Frozen person at all. And I'm glad that Frozen went here because I think this will actually keep us from getting a Frozen land that is just, we don't need that right now, especially out there. I think there's a lot of other IPs we can use. So I'm actually okay with this being Frozen for now. My question to you, George, is do you think that they'll ever replace that to put Frozen in another park? Or do you think they'll keep that and do Frozen?
That's actually a very good question. The problem with that is because Disney is always going to want to hold an IP that is significant to its own country in Epcot.
Uh-huh.
And being that it's Norway, there's nothing else that you would be able to put in there. And I think they're going to need something popular like Frozen to kind of keep the young kids involved and be interested in Epcot. I can still see like something of Arendelle, coming to the parks, but I truly believe that it's going to be Disneyland. I don't think it's going to come to Walt Disney World anytime soon.
Yeah, and it would be Magic Kingdom, I'm assuming, if they did do something like that, right?
Yeah. Now again, and it also depends on too what Frozen 3 and 4 is going to be like, because
Yeah.
if it's a completely different storyline than what it would showcase in Epcot, then you could still put it in Magic
They can get
Kingdom
away with it.
and have two different renditions in the same resort.
So, part two of this question: do you think Disney has a play in the way the stories are written, so that they can actually do things in the park differently?
Absolutely,
You
because
think
we
they
kind
change
of
storylines just to do that?
I think so, because I feel like there I started seeing that a little bit when I would attend D23, because
Mhm.
anytime that they would have a parks presentation or something of a panel with the parks, they incorporated people from the studio.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the Imagineers and the animators and directors and producers, they all come together. So I feel like even though the studio is they're creating like original content, I still think in the back of their mind they keep an open mind to say this could potentially become something in one of the theme parks. So we have to keep that in mind. It has to be feasible and doable that if the Imagineers decide to choose my project or my movie, then it could be done.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I'm feeling about Avatar. I think that's why it's taken Disney to get, or DCA to so long to get Avatar, because they want to be able to make it different from Pandora and Magic King or Animal Kingdom. So, yeah, that's Frozen for you. I think that there's a lot of good elements. I like the animatronics. I know people give it a lot of shit because of the faces and stuff, which yeah, I can understand that. But it's still cute and it worked in that little ass show building, and it doesn't leave you wanting more. Like they did a good job at telling the story of what it is. Um, but yeah, it's cool. The kids like it. I don't
Yeah.
have too much on it. All right, number 3. Go ahead.
Actually, number 3 is Frozen
There we
for
go.
after for me. Yeah, I feel like they got creative of like the ride system that Maelstrom is, and how can you take the story of Frozen and literally not change anything to it, but you're just adding the thematic elements to it that would make sense to Frozen, but you're not changing the whole system of Maelstrom. And you're right, like the backwards of the boat, where she's like singing like "Let It Go" and she's like pushing you out, and then you go frontwards down the little mini hill, and you see Marshmallow who breathes like
Yeah.
his ice cold breath on you and everything. I do hope again, and I know we talked about this on episode 4 with I mentioned about the seven dwarfs, because a lot of the time Disney was utilizing like the LED kind of like projection mapping of the face, and I've seen a few of those audio animatronics when the projection mapping was not working, and damn,
Yeah.
that looks funky as hell. So I do hope in time that they adapt to the international parks and they update the animatronics. But I think it's a cute
Is it
ride.
Tokyo that has?
Tokyo, yeah,
Okay.
Fantasy Springs, yeah,
And they have full animatronic, right, with
yeah.
facial features and everything.
And like that ride, I hear. I mean, I've watched a lot of POVs on it. I mean, that is literally the movie on a ride. Like
Damn.
the
Yeah.
attention to detail is they said is phenomenal of what they did with that ride.
Yeah. I mean, Tokyo in general is just they're getting all
Oh
the
yeah, they do. They do everything.
they're doing it right. But that's what happens when you have buku bucks.
Or let's say this is what happens when you have buku bucks and you're willing to spend on it.
That is very true. But they rather that's another one of those. We rather spend money. Let's spend useless money in the movie section where we're not making our money. Know what? No, fuck that, George. Let's put let's put $650 million on an Avengers movie, or 350 average on a regular princess movie or any other movie we do. No movie needs 350 million when you're not animating the whole thing. And I know you want to get
A
big
lot of
stars.
those movies are definitely way overspending than what they really need to be.
Yeah.
Way much. And then you have to take into consideration, okay, how do we make that money back and then make some so it makes a profit? It's like you're setting yourself up to failure before you even get the movie
Yeah.
marketed.
And that's what they talk about too. Oh, half this is for marketing. You know, if you say you're having a new Avengers movie, you do not need to market it out on every fucking thing you can. It's gonna do its job by itself. It's a fucking Marvel movie.
Yes.
But at the same time, I guess they're getting a little scared because they're starting to, Netflix and Disney Plus is starting to drown out Marvel a little bit. So we'll see, but that's another time. Number 3 for me is Spaceship Earth. Yeah. So once again, that giant golf ball in the sky. I didn't know what the fuck it was, and I remember seeing the line for it. I'm like, I thought it was gonna be a walkthrough, literally thought it was gonna be a walkthrough of like a kind of I don't know. I just thought it was gonna be a walkthrough, but I go in and I hop in that weird little car thing, and I get to poke the little buttons, and then all of a sudden it opens up, and you're going through time, literally where things started. Oh my god, I fucking fell in love right there in the spot. I love Epcot because I love to learn. I love learning something at a park in general. That's why I like going to zoos a lot. I go to a lot of zoos. I love the zoo because I get to learn about animals and just a whole bunch of different things. But this ride, every single scene was done really, really well. It explained everything. The voice is so soothing, and you're right there. Only thing I would say is I wish that it was updated. Like it can definitely use an update to some of those animatronics. The train can use a little update. The little touchpad can use an update, which I know is supposed to get. It was supposed to at one point get all updated, but
And thank God it didn't.
what was it supposed to be?
That is the one update that I'm glad it didn't go through, because Chapek wanted to turn it into like follow this little glowing ball of light. He is going to be like your guide. And I don't know what the hell they were going to turn it into, but I'm like, oh God, like that was the one reprievement that we got from COVID, that it got chopped because of like the amount of spending at the time.
Yeah.
And that is the one thing that I'm glad it didn't. So if they do decide to update Spaceship Earth, they need to keep the integrity of what the ride is and just update the ride system, like freshen it up, but don't change the overall story of it.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because even my kids were in there, and my son was I think 5 at the time, and he was totally into it. He was listening. He was asking, like we got off, he asked questions about all this different stuff because he didn't see all this stuff before. So to see my son actually wanting to learn and ask more questions, it was great. So yeah, if you ruin that with some fucking weird glowing light, keep how it is then. All I want is updated animatronics and just a little bit better lighting in there, because it's kind of dark for some things. But once again, it's a long ass ride. It's a people eater. It moves super slow. You get to relax. It's nice and cool in there. You get to learn something. It's a lot of fun. And I do it every time now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Well, I have some more things to say, but I'll wait.
Okay. So then bring it on. Number 2.
All right. So my number 2 is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure.
I didn't even know it was called that, by the way.
The thing with that ride is, and I know a lot of people give it shit because they're like, oh, it took this long for them to bring it over from Paris. It's kind of like an outdated ride system and everything. But I think the queue, again, the extended part of France that I mentioned earlier, it needed it, and it gives it a little bit more in depth. And that's what I hope that they do with the Mexican pavilion. And what better way to do it, like how they did with Ratatouille in France, do it with Coco at Mexico. But it's a very charming, cute, like dark ride. It's something for the whole family, whether you're 5 or 85, you can do this ride. I love how it literally shrinks you down to the size of a rat, and going through the obstacles and challenges that a rat would go through if they were in a high-end restaurant. And again, you're getting all the sensories. Like when you're underneath the oven, you feel the burner and it's like really hot. And then you get splashed by the mop, and you get the puff of air when they pop the cork off the champagne. And it's just a fun ride. And I'm glad that they decided to add that into Epcot, and especially the France Pavilion, because it fits so well.
Yeah, the cool thing is about that is that it looked like it's been there the whole time. Like if you didn't know that it wasn't there before, like after a couple years ago, you would thought it was there from the beginning when they first built the France Pavilion, because it fits in there perfectly. I love that ride too. I think it was cool. I only went on it twice. I could see where people say it's outdated, and there's some stuff like the giant screens, and you're kind of like you can still kind of see certain things. It's not fully immersive as I would want it to be,
Mhm.
but it's still brilliant, and it need to go there. What else would you put there? Like, it's okay to have that ride there because it needs to go there. So I agree with you 100%.
And I'm going to put my Imagineering cap on a
Uh-huh.
little bit. If they really wanted to go full on with the France Pavilion, extend it even further beyond Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and create the Village of Beauty and the Beast, and then have the castle, and then you have the Beauty and the Beast attraction. Now, and again, I think it would fit better in a castle park, but you already have the Be Our Guest restaurant
Yep.
in Magic Kingdom. You can't do Beast Castle with Beast Castle. It's just not going to make
Doesn't
sense.
work.
But how can you fit it in Walt Disney World? Well, put it in the country that the movie was set.
Is there any room near the Be Our Guests for that to fit?
You mean in Magic Kingdom?
Yeah. If there was, you could make an extension on that, so you'd still have the castle there. You would take the big weird little fucking forced perspective castle off the top there.
Yeah, I would take that off and maybe extend it outward, and then maybe perch the. I mean, they probably could do that. I mean, especially because I believe Be Our Guest is like on the back end of where Haunted Mansion is, like in that vicinity.
So you can make them go to the right, and then the right
make
would
it
be the
go,
right. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll have to pull up a map or look at a map at some point and see if there's room.
But I mean, if you don't decide to do that, as I said, put it into an extended version of the France Pavilion. That way, you have Beauty and the Beast and Ratatouille.
Let me ask you this though: once you do something like that and you put a castle in a non-castle park, does that open the doors for other princesses to go in there? I know we have Frozen already, but Frozen's not. There's not a castle there.
True. I think it just depends on like how well they do the architecture. I would set the castle like subtly in the back where it's not visible, like while you're walking throughout the park. And Epcot's huge. I mean, World Showcase alone can probably fit like 5 Magic Kingdoms.
Yeah, it's massive.
I'm just like, I don't know if that's the actual number, but you could fit like the entire like Magic Kingdom parking lot in World Showcase alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of like have it perched like in the back if there was room back there for them to get creative and just have the castle with the village. And yeah.
So my number 2, this one was up there because I got to actually do it. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Dude, that ride blew my fucking mind. What a concept. What a weird ass location, but what a fucking concept.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect any of that. I'm so glad it took over. What was it? Ellen's in there?
Ellen's Energy Adventure.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, Ellen. No one likes you. What a boring ass fucking ride. You know, actually, the first time I rode on that ride, I broke down like halfway through. So not only did I have to wait like an hour for the show to finish, the pre-show and all that, I fucking broke down and I had to walk through the whole which was cool. I got to walk through everything, all the animatronics. But fuck off. Like that, good, go. And then they put this in there, like when I heard the concept of what it is, I'm like, well, that makes 0 sense why they're at Epcot. And then I rode it, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck where this is at. I need one of these. Like, that's probably the only ride I'm okay with them bringing over to Disneyland and putting one there because I need to ride it more than once. The queue line is decent. I do think there was some stuff they could have done a little better in the queue line, especially since we're getting a lot more shows in like Star Wars and other rides. We're getting a lot more of a show before we get in there. This one still has that show kind of element, but I just wanted to be more grand scale. But I kind of understand why they didn't do it, because Florida, you kind of have to have everybody inside, and you can only have so much space without having switchbacks everywhere.
And I feel like that was the whole storyline from the get, that you're walking into kind of like this planetarium kind of virtual thing, and then they then beam you up into space.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the loading area looks completely different than as if you were back on Earth.
And that's what I was talking about, like, because you get the whole weird like scene at the ending. I just felt like kind of when you're going up and through, there's some stuff you can look at. I just wish there was more to look at in the beginning there, because you're waiting quite a while in that one section. But then bringing Terry Crews up in there, he makes it a lot of fun. And then actually getting on the ride, picking the song or getting on and hearing what song gets picked makes a huge difference in the ride. And I love that the theming of all the Guardian rides so far, they're giving you good music choices.
Mhm.
But man, I wasn't expecting that thing just to fucking rip it like that. That ride doesn't hold back. It's thrilling. And then that one scene when you're going through what is like around the circle around the Earth or whatever, the moon. You kind of like go in this like big ass like circle. I've never felt that. Like I've never went so fast on a roller coaster and be turned sideways.
Sideways.
Yeah,
Yes.
and in a circle. It felt so strange, and it wanted me like I wanted to do it again just because that feeling. Um, but I love it. I think it's a great ride, and I still think it's in a weird spot. And last thing about it too, the out front they had the fucking oh man, what's it called? What's that ship called? Not ship, the
Oh yeah, I know what you
plane.
mean.
I
I
can't
can't
remember
think
the fucking
of it.
name of the plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not Nova's plane, is it? What the hell is it called? It's gonna bother me. Not Quinjet. Is it Quinjet?
No, no, that's I think it is a Nova. Is it a Nova
Nova Corp
Nova
thing?
Core? Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, it looks really cool, and I always thought like how they're gonna make this thing stand because it has this weird little stand on it, but it worked out really really well, and it's massive. So yeah, that's my number two.
Awesome. My number one is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic
Yeah,
Rewind.
damn.
Um, I absolutely love this ride. As you mentioned, I've never experienced not just a ride, but a roller coaster for that matter, of the intensity and the force that it gives you, the way that the the car maneuvers on the track. Again, I love the storyline. I love the build up for it. I love the soundtrack. Um, and it's Guardians of the Galaxy. And, they had, James Gunn be able to kind of like direct kind of like the show scenes within the attraction. And I mean, as I said, despite of how what people think of him as a person, I mean, him as a director, a storyteller, I mean, he knocked it out of the ballpark with everything that he touched with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I dare say it's not even really my favorite ride in all of Epcot. It's actually my favorite ride in all of Walt Disney World.
Wow. It's a Star Blaster, by the way, and it was Nova Core.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. Your favorite ride? That's big. That's gonna come up in another video, so you already know his number one now. But but um, that's not a big saying because it's up there for me too, and because there's nothing that I've been on that's like that, and that's once again one of those things that Disney did that is very unique, and you have to go to Epcot to do that, and I think they did it really well. The other side of this too, George, is being limited to what characters Disney can use. And they found their in with the Guardians. And I thought it wasn't gonna work over in DCA, and they end up doing a great job there too. So there's something more to it that we don't know. I can't wait for us to be able to use other IPs as far as other characters in Disney Park. It sucks that Avengers. I'm not saying Avengers are dead because they're not. I mean, we've had Avengers before I was even born, but that whole little era we had with like Captain America and like the first Avengers movies, it's kind of starting to unalive itself a little bit more.
Mhm.
But I still think if all of a sudden they're like, hey, you know what? You can have X-Men, you can have um, Spider-Man, you can have Wolverine in the parks now. I still think those are going to be money makers. I still think it's going to do a great job. But where do you put them now? You don't let Captain America run around Epcot, right? Like where do you put Captain America?
I think
Hollywood Studios?
honestly, if and when Universal decides to give up the rights to Marvel for Disney to put in Disney World, I feel like that's when Disney's Hollywood Studios is going to get the complete facelift.
It has
Um,
to.
yeah.
I agree with that. Cool. So my number one, no one would ever guess this. I even talked to a buddy before I did the show,
Living
and
with
he
the
was like,
Land.
"Yeah, living with the land." Um, yeah, living with the land, fucker. Damn it. So living with the land is my number one favorite. I adore this ride. I love it so much. I will go to Epcot just to ride on that thing all day. Like, give me 12 hours of living with the land. I fucking love it. I didn't know there's a damn tour. and I'm so upset they didn't do the tour.
Living. Wait, what is it? Uh,
Wait, did I do
something
the
with
tour?
seeds. See,
No, I didn't do the tour.
living with the seeds or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't do the tour. I thought I did. No, I didn't do the tour there. I did the tour somewhere else. But
Yeah.
yes, I want to go on that tour so bad. So a little bit about myself. I have gardens running 24/7. I have tents with plants growing. Like I love growing plants and going on this ride and just seeing how Disney does all their stuff crazy, like minimum amount of water used, minimum amount of soil, whole ecosystem, no fucking gross ass bugs. And then they use all that food they grow to feed you in the restaurant too. And this goes back to what George was saying, like all these rides somehow tie into something bigger or more.
Hmm.
And that ride's just so good. It sits there. It's in the middle of nowhere in this pavilion. You don't know it's there unless you walk it all the way in the back. So it's always like kind of like a hidden gem. You could walk right on most of them. There's one time I went though, and it was the all the way out the switchback. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Who said to do this today, guys? So I didn't actually ride it, but I can't get over how they have everything so perfectly done in that little ass building, and it feeds everybody daily. And another thing too is that big ass, like they have a one of the rooms, it's almost like an atrium or something, but it has like this big dome. And I remember going in there and there was a thunderstorm, and you can just hear it echoing in there because it's just so massive, and you could see it just pounding on the roof, and it was such a cool feeling, and it kind of just brought this a different vibe to it. But even in the beginning, when you first go through the water, the rainforest, and it kind of just starts explaining to you like just a different ecosystem and how life changes, and then it kind of just starts moving in. It's not just growing stuff; it has a whole story of life and how we can do better at conservation, and how we can cut back on wasting water and wasting, useful materials. So I love it. I never eaten at the restaurant though, and I heard that's on like a turn, right? Doesn't it turn?
The garden grill, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
very unique with each kind of course that they bring out. The restaurant rotates, so you can see a different part of the ride.
That's really cool.
It's very unique. It is kind of pricey because it is uh, what's the word I'm looking for? It is
Organic?
what is it? No, 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 no.
Organic.
It's uh the menu. It's God, why
Prefix?
prefix. It's a prefix menu, so it's kind of pricey, and it's like the food is like, it's okay because
Yeah.
of the price, but I think it's more so you're paying for the experience.
Yeah.
Um,
And they do a lot of meet and greets there. I think they have a
we do
breakfast too, right?
Chippendale's Harvest Feast
Yeah, there you go.
during like the fall and Halloween time. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. So I love it. That makes my Epcot trip
And
every
what I
single
love about Living with the Land, and by the way, Living with the Land is one of my honorable mentions. I have three of them, and with the Land is one of them. What I love about Living with the Land, it is basically like the People Mover on water, and
okay.
it ties in again like the ecosystem and kind of like like its own uh, kind of convention kind of way of again how they grow stuff without like pesticides and using like dirt and fertilizer and all that. It's grown organically, and yeah, they show you like this is the food that they utilize throughout the resort. It's
Yep.
it's how they grow their fruits, their vegetables, and everything. And I also love like again how you talked about the storyline like with the rainforest, and it takes you into like the fields and the meadows where it shows the buffaloes, and then
Yeah.
you have like the farmhouse with the dog on the
Yep.
porch and everything. You hear the rooster crowing and everything, and it kind of almost gives me that Disneyland Railroad vibe when you go through the diorama with like the Grand Canyon and then the dinosaur era.
Yep.
It just kind of gives that vibe. But yeah, Living with the Land is one of my honorable mentions. My other two is Test Track,
Yep.
because I do love that ride. I just feel like that they're trying to get it right, and they haven't really like hit that groundwork of. But then again, they just they just are now going to open Test Track 3.0, which is going to pay tribute to World of Motion, the original ride that it replaced. So I'm very curious to see how well it's been receiving a lot of praise. Other than the doors not opening when the car drives through. So luckily the doors are made of a sponge like material.
Yeah.
Talk about a crash dummy course. It actually happened. But and then lastly is Spaceship Earth. I love it. I remember growing up and I kept on thinking to myself, why did Disney build a giant golf ball? Like, what is that? And technically, it's like as a kid, you think of that. But with it being a geodesic sphere, that's like where it's kind of showcasing the Earth in a futuristic dimensional
Yeah.
manner. And yeah, you're right. Like when I found out that there was a ride inside, I'm like, how? Like, what is it? And then when you actually go through the ride, you don't actually surmise that you're actually in a giant geodesic sphere. Like it doesn't like
Doesn't feel like
register,
it.
you
Yeah.
know, it's I do agree with you. It does need some updates. But again, it just needs like the touch ups. It does not need no change of story or like keep the, update the audio animatronics, but keep them as the audio animatronics. Don't
Yeah.
like go all hog wild.
For me, I'll go with 3 also, and I had to cut something off because I liked something different. But one of my honorable mentions is Remy. I really did enjoy it. The kids they went wild for that. They loved it. I do think it's good, like I mentioned earlier. I do think that it is kind of older technology. If in the newer area, it's still newer technology than most rides there or in general. Um, my second one is, and I know people are gonna shit on me for this one, but I also didn't get to do the original. But Journey into Imagination. I wish I got to ride the original. I know I've seen videos. I wish I got to ride it. I still ride this ride. There's never a line for it. It's in the middle of nowhere. And it's funny. My kids like the smell of fucking skunk ass for some reason. Like it's a fun ride. And the soundtrack's pretty fucking good too. And you get to see some of the you get to see the scientists. I think that's the coolest thing. People like the age of everybody now, they don't get to see all the different scientists. My kid doesn't know what fucking flubber is. Like, you know what I mean? They didn't
Yeah.
go around the world in 80 days. Like there's just different stuff that you still get to see on that ride. And I hope they preserve at least that portion of it. Seeing Robin Williams in there, it's really cool. And then my last one, this one is one of those where I didn't know I was gonna like it as much. And every time I go in there, I get this weird, like, not weird, but I get that sense of feeling. And looking at what we are as humans and how this park is a international park, like everybody comes here, like everybody wants to go to Walt Disney World. They don't.
Mm.
Walt Disneyland itself is a locals park. Disney World has people from all around the world. You can walk around there and you'll see every single race, mixed breed of whatever the hell it is. They're there. You can have fucking aliens walking around. You can have fucking stormtroopers. Not really. You'll have whatever there. Anyways, what I'm getting at is American Adventure. I
Mm.
think it does a great job at showcasing what America really is. And it's one of those that gives me chills every time I watch it, and I make a point to watch it. I really enjoy it. And every time I go in there, you see these different cultures or people from different cultures and backgrounds in there watching it. And you get to see how they react to it. And it's really nice. And even that pavilion in general, I think that pavilion doesn't get enough love. And um, I can't remember who I saw there. I saw someone playing music out there. It was like someone from the Backstreet Boys or something weird. They always have cool concerts there. Super random. It was like
Oh, yeah.
what's his name, Tony Fatone or Joey Fatone, whatever his name is. But yeah, that's my 3 there. But I think out of all those 3s, Journeys into Imagination really needs some fucking help. It needs so much help, and they need to keep Figment. Figment is Epcot's baby. Make it happen for Figment. Even if you rip it all out and take away everything, just make it work out.
Yeah, Figment is basically Epcot's mascot. And they hinted like teasers of like Figment entering in Imagineering and entering in the animation building up in Burbank. And it's like, okay, so are we getting a movie based off of Figment? Is it the ride going to be updated? And we still don't know. And it's like, I guess right now it's just not a priority at the moment. I feel like Disney has a lot more bigger things they want to knock off before they tackle that. And And right now, Figment is still popular. People are buying the magnets and the popcorn buckets
I have a
and like
giant Figment plush, like a
yeah.
big ass one. That was like my kid wanted. Like my kid doesn't ask for much, like at all. So when he asks for something, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker wants that shit. Like, and then I'm like, I don't want to look at that fucking tag. And I look at the tag, I'm like, oh shit, okay, cool, whatever, dude. Like, this is what you want. You didn't ask for anything this whole trip. This is like our last day. I said, you're carrying the fucking thing. Go get it. Go. Here's the money. Because so what I did is I actually gave them. I got them all Disney gift cards.
Mm.
So I put. I can't remember how much I put on there, but I gave everyone Disney gift cards, and I said, "Here, this is yours. If you want to use it on something, you can use it on it." And he waited till the last day to find out what he wanted, and it was Figment. And that was
Which
after
is
we went on
very
the ride.
smart. Which is
Yeah,
very smart. I always say, like, wait till, like, the last day, because if you hurry up and get something and then you find something later on, it's like, then, you're SOL.
yeah, and that was something like my other kid bought he got a who was a Pluto, like a Pluto dog, and you can like put a bone up to his face and it wags its tail and stuff. That
Mm.
thing broke before we even left, and it
Oh,
was expensive. Yeah, and we actually brought it back and like, hey, what can we do? They're like, oh, dude, just go grab another one off the shelf. So we grabbed another one off the shelf, went home. It broke again, and my wife called up Disney and is like, hey, we're all the way back in California. This thing broke after we got it home. Like, what do we do? They shipped him another one, which is really awesome. So some Disney magic there, and I don't know where this one is now. This one's fucking somewhere. I don't know. It's probably missing its head, but it was really cool to kind of see that Disney magic and kind of just give your kids something to do. And that's how you gain build responsibility with your children too. Like giving them something to know, like, hey, this is it. Like you get $25, like make it last. That was how
yeah.
I grew up learning, and that's why I'm a cheap bastard. Um, I still probably have the $25 I was supposed to keep from the last Disney trip. Dude, fun thing. I went to Disneyland for a work trip, and they gave us a per diem. I came back with per diem money. That's that's how cheap I am. So my wife's like, dude, what do you do? You sub? I'm like, yeah. I mean, it gave me cash. Why? Like, I don't need to eat. Oh man. But George, this one was a great episode. I love Epcot. I can't wait to go back to Epcot. I would love to go to Epcot with George. I think we would have a lot of fun at Epcot together. I don't think
Yeah.
we would remember Epcot together, but it'll be a blast, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
But George, tell them where they can find you.
Absolutely. You can find me on Orange Grove 55 with my segment of Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And you could also find me on my new YouTube channel, Citrico Central, sister channel to Orange Grove 55.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Once again, description is going to be down below. Everybody go check me out on all socials besides X, the Candy Camper, and then also Candy Camper Theme Park Thoughts. I'm mostly on TikTok. I do a lot of lives on there, so go check me out there. And then also, this is going to be probably like a 4 to 5 part series. So if you're on YouTube, there's going to be a playlist where you can go and check the playlist, and you can see of our tops for Walt Disney World with George. And then also going back, I'm going to have all of my Disney top fives with Mr. Webba from Web Slingers, also part of OG55 crew. So go ahead and check us out soon. Also, we're going to be going live. We're going to have a live with all the OG55 crew. They don't know it yet. I'm kind of just throwing it out there, but we're going to make it happen, and I'll keep you guys updated on that. So everybody, have a good night, and don't forget, stick to the left.